Welcome to the 9th Asian Ministerial Energy Roundtable session in association with IEF and with BCG as knowledge partners. This session is being conducted after a gap of almost 3 years. To recap, our last session was held in 2019 in Abu Dhabi. The theme for this roundtable is mapping new pathways for energy security, inclusive growth, and energy transitions. We have a set of dignitaries who will be first making some opening statements to the august audience. May I request His Excellency Dr. Sultan Al Jaber, Minister of Industry and Advanced Technology and Special Envoy for Climate for the United Arab Emirates, and the COP28 President-designate, to please come onto the stage. May I now request the host minister, the Honorable Minister Shri Hardeep Singh Puri, Minister of Petroleum and Natural Gas and Housing and Urban Affairs, to please join us on the stage. May I also now request that we have on stage His Excellency Joseph McMoneagle, the Secretary General of the International Energy Forum. The Asian Ministerial Energy Roundtable will be structured around a few themes and topics. We will first have His Excellencies address the august audience on the different topics concerning the Asian Ministerial Energy Roundtable, after which we will have 2 closed-door dialogue sessions at the ministerial level. The first one addressing energy security and justice challenges in a turbulent world. And the second one, very pertinently, Asia, the center of demand and engine of accelerated growth and innovation. I don't want to stand between you and the addresses of the Excellencies. May I request His Excellency Dr. Sultan Al Jaber to address the audience.
Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, it indeed gives me great pleasure to be here with you this morning at India Energy Week. And allow me first to thank my very dear friend and colleague, His Excellency Shri Hardeep Puri, for inviting me to today's Asian Ministerial Energy Roundtable. In fact, it is with great pleasure that I see so many familiar faces, friends, and colleagues from across Asia and the rest of the world here today. Let me also thank the International Energy Forum for organizing this very important and timely gathering. The mission of the IEF to facilitate constructive dialogue between energy producing and consuming nations is essential for promoting real, inclusive, sustainable development. And as a responsible, reliable energy supplier, promoting inclusive, sustainable development has been a core principle for my country, the United Arab Emirates. And as we prepare to host COP28 later this year, this principle will guide our approach to seek global consensus for transformational progress for our climate and our economies. The UAE approaches this task with humility. The UAE approaches this task with a deep sense of responsibility and a great sense of urgency. As part of the process, we will actively listen to and engage with the entire world. And I am delighted that the first stop on this listening tour is in this great country. In fact, India is critical to the transformational progress we need, what the whole world needs. Under Prime Minister Modi's guidance, India has emerged from the COVID pandemic stronger than ever before. It is, in fact, the fastest growing major economy and will soon be the third largest in the world. This is a testament to the wisdom of India's leaders and the spirit of its own people. And as India's economy surges, it is dealing with the fundamental question that the whole world faces today: how to adopt policies that are pro-growth and pro-climate at the same time. How to provide for a world that will consume 30% more energy by 2050 while also respecting the nature and protecting our planet. In short, how to hold back emissions, not progress. To succeed, when the debate around climate change only seems to be getting more divisive, we must act in true solidarity. We must empower the Global South, where almost 800 million people have no electricity, and we must do it in an inclusive energy transition approach. We must eliminate energy poverty while keeping 1.5 alive, and we need to move from talking about the goals to, in fact, making it happen and getting the job done. That is why we are calling for COP28 to be a COP of action and a COP for all. It is our view that this is the decade where we must stop deliberating and start delivering. We must start delivering across mitigation, adaptation, climate finance, and loss and damage. The size of this challenge is just immense, but so is the opportunity. Take, for example, the growth of investment in clean technologies. Last year, despite an ongoing war, fears of recession, and the world still recovering from COVID, annual global investment in clean energy exceeded $1 trillion for the first time. And the trajectory is only going up. Most of this new growth will be driven by the dynamic economies of Asia. Here in India, you are aiming for 500 gigawatts of clean energy by 2030. Yes, that is very ambitious, but we believe in your abilities and capabilities. So yes, even though it is very ambitious, we do believe that it is also very achievable. And the United Arab Emirates, as your committed long-term strategic partner, is ready, willing, and able to partner with you on this very important and critical journey. We in the UAE have spent the last 2 decades diversifying our energy portfolio. We have invested in nuclear. We are investing in hydrogen, and we are expanding our global renewable energy footprint to at least 100 gigawatt by 2030. And we need everyone on this journey with us so that together we can triple global renewable energy capacity over the next 7 years. That said, we know that renewables alone are not enough, particularly in hard-to-abate sectors. Without a breakthrough in battery storage, we must invest heavily in carbon capture, nuclear power, and the hydrogen value chain. But spending on these fundamental enablers of decarbonization are less than 5% of what is spent on renewables. And this must change. And when it comes to change, this also applies to the oil and gas industry. The world still needs hydrocarbons and will need them to bridge from the current energy system to the new energy system.
Thank you, His Excellency Dr. Sultan Al Jaber, for these inspiring and optimistic words on the evolution of the world energy systems and the call to action for all of us. May I now call upon His Excellency Joseph McMoneagle, Secretary General of the International Energy Forum, to address the audience.
Well, thank you very much, Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the International Energy Forum's 9th Asian Ministerial Energy Roundtable here during India Energy Week. Let me start by thanking His Excellency, the Honorable Minister Puri, India's Minister of Petroleum and Natural Gas, for hosting the IEF Ministerial as an integral part of India Energy Week. Let me also thank and welcome His Excellency Dr. Sultan, the Special Envoy for Climate Change and President-Designate of COP28 of the UAE, for his opening remarks and underline the IAF's support for and participation in the COP28 to be held in Dubai later this year. Dr. Sultan has been a leader on transition and climate ambition, and there is no one better to be leading us at this critical time to help us meet our climate goals. So we're very honored that he is here today. India has become the growth engine of the world, with GDP now rising at the fastest rate of any major global economy. Energy demand is expected to expand by more than any other country over the next 20 years. So it is no exaggeration to say that the future of energy will be determined in India. Honorable Minister, under your leadership, India has become an example to the rest of the world in how to manage the energy trilemma, extending modern energy services to a growing population, while also defending affordability and delivering on a sustainable future. Energy security was out of fashion for many years, but today, the energy crisis has delivered a reality check and put energy security back on the agenda worldwide. The IEF is unique among energy organizations in that we have a special focus on global energy security. The term is often misunderstood. True global energy security cannot be a zero-sum game where the winner takes all at the expense of others. We have seen some evidence of this recently in global gas markets. Energy security can be achieved by investing in new production and establishing trusted partnerships between producers and consumers. Even as the industry presses ahead with the clean energy revolution, it is a fact that we will rely on oil and gas for about half of our energy needs today. So while we ramp up investment in renewables and pursue the energy transition, we need to keep investing in oil and gas to support the global economy and protect the quality of life for everyone. When markets are tight, the markets send us signals in the form of high prices, signaling the need for investment. In our latest upstream oil and gas investment outlook, produced in association with S&P Global, we reported a large increase in investment last year. In 2022, capital expenditure jumped by 39% to $499 billion. This is the highest level since 2014 and the largest annual gain in history. But this increase did not mean a corresponding growth in drilling because costs and inflation also rose steeply. The report estimates that annual upstream oil and gas investment will need to hit $640 billion in 2030 to ensure adequate supplies. A cumulative $4.9 trillion will be needed from now until 2030 to meet market needs, even if the growth in oil and gas demand slows down. As we saw last year, high prices and volatility have disastrous effects on households all over the world, hitting the poorest people the hardest. Underinvestment in oil and gas threatens energy security and stalls progress on climate goals by increasing reliance on more carbon-intensive options. And high prices and volatility caused by underinvestment puts at risk public support for climate goals. So we need to manage the transition. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm pleased to welcome you all to the 9th Asian Ministerial Energy Roundtable, and we look forward to a fruitful discussion today. Let me again thank His Excellency Minister Puri for inviting us to have this ministerial meeting as part of India Energy Week. Through intensive dialogue between producers and consumers, we believe that we can achieve greater energy security, market stability, and transparency to the benefit of all nations. Thank you.
Thank you, His Excellency McMonagle. Thank you for stressing the necessity for oil and gas investments while we continue to ramp up investments in renewables and other energy transition technologies. May I now call upon the host minister, His Excellency the Honorable Minister Hardeep Singh Puri, Minister of Petroleum and Natural Gas and Housing and Urban Affairs, to address the audience.
Excellencies, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, the 9th Asian Ministerial Energy Roundtable is being held at an apt time when there is a pressing need to galvanize global efforts for mapping stable and secure energy pathways for achieving energy security, energy justice, growth and innovation. I am delighted and I deem it a great privilege to be able to welcome you all to this inaugural session of the 9th Asian Ministerial Energy Roundtable, which is being co-hosted by India along with the International Energy Forum. I am particularly pleased to see His Excellency Dr. Sultan Al Jaber, Minister of Industry and Advanced Technology and Special Envoy for Climate of the United Arab Emirates, and my dear friend, who will also be shouldering very onerous responsibilities in the months to come. I am delighted that he is able to join us. As they say, the 21st century belongs to Asia, and this is being vindicated in the post-pandemic energy sector. Asian economies have not only managed to bounce back faster from the impacts of the pandemic, but have also made significant progress towards clean energy. While the past century marked the end of colonialism in Asia, the present century is marked by the remarkable growth story of Asia due to its demographic dividend and innovation. Some of the world's best solutions to the world's toughest problems including in the energy sector, have come out of Asia. Anyone who suggests that the transition that we are undertaking can be done in an unrealistic manner, or anyone who suggests that there is a conflict of interest between the world which we inhabit today and the transition that we are making needs to have a serious bout of introspection. I think what we are witnessing, and something that we will succeed in, is that the two worlds will process and proceed through a confluence of interest. Unless we survive the present, we will not be able to go into the world of green and clean energy in a seamless manner. So therefore, I welcome all of you who have joined hands and who will continue to endeavor to ensure that as we progress in a sustainable manner towards green and clean energy solutions, whether they come from biofuels, whether they come from green hydrogen, or they come from any new innovations that come on the table, we have to make sure that our transition entails surviving the present in a manner which makes those who are the most affected, who are the most vulnerable, to ensure that they are cushioned from the volatility that turbulence globally can cause them. The Asian Ministerial Roundtable has always been a meaningful platform for dialogue between producers, consumers, and international organizations to join the energy debate issues which confront the Asian and the global energy sector. Our interaction and takeaways from our discussion today will have a direct bearing on our tomorrow and our future generations. I want to say a particular word of appreciation and gratitude to my co-host, the Secretary General, Mr. Mac Monagle of the International Energy Forum, for the leadership he has provided to this platform. And the large numbers who have turned out here today will, I'm sure, give more strength to his elbow to continue providing this forum, for this forum to continue to provide that bridging role. Excellencies, the world economy has radically changed over the last decade. The Asian share of global GDP has risen from 38% to 45% and is likely to reach 50% by 2030. The Asian economy has grown at the average rate of 5.5% over the previous 2 decades, and the registered growth of 6.5% posted in 2021, while it is expected to moderate to 4.0% in 2022 amid an uncertain global environment and rise to 4.3% in 2023. We in India are acutely conscious of the need to facilitate not only the transition but also in the interim to insulate our large population. And for those of you who might not be aware, 60 million, yes, Excellency, 60 million of our citizens go to the petrol bunk every day. Our current consumption is 5 million barrels of crude in a day. But since our growth in energy demand is thrice, 3 times higher than the global average, you will not be surprised that our appetite for energy will rise as it is rising now. And many of the estimates that I have seen means that India, a large Asian country, is not only committed to the climate goals, but as our Honorable Prime Minister pointed out addressing the plenary, the opening plenary of the India Energy Week, we have taken concrete steps in that direction. The last budget which was presented a few days ago, and India today is the 5th largest economy, having jumped from 10th place 10 years ago, and with our per capita income having doubled in those 9 years, we now refer to the last budget as the green budget. Apart from decisions which were taken prior to the budget to encourage progress in the area of green hydrogen, allocations which were made, in the current budget, we have made a 33.5% increase in the outlay for capital expenditure, taking it to 10 lakh crores. There's a separate allocation of 35,000 crores for capital expenditure and green energy transition. There are several unique features in the budget, which I think slowly but surely that transition to green energy, we have now reached 10% of biofuels, ethanol blending. Yesterday, the Honorable Prime Minister introduced an E20 or 20% blended fuel as a pilot project in advance, and our target for 20% blending, which was set for 2030, has been brought forward to 2025, 5 years ahead. Excellencies, affordable energy is a vital ingredient to achieving inclusive economic growth and energy justice. The economies world over, particularly the emerging economies, are facing the daunting task of safeguarding energy security, affordability and accessibility, which has created what could only be called the cost of living crisis. Going forward, as the challenges are likely to become even more acute, the value of preparedness against such potential shock is going to start an era of building resilience. The energy crisis has a ripple effect on other sectors as well. The unprecedented high levels of gas prices has created a fertilizer crisis, which in turn has created food security concerns. Further, the high energy and commodity prices have raised inflationary pressure and concerns, and many countries also fear recessionary anxiety. Climate change, Excellencies, is the defining challenge of our time, and the stakes are particularly high for the Asian region, with the temperature rising twice faster in Asia than the global average. And a low carbon emissions pathways for development is the key to mitigating climate change. Excellencies, the energy transition will be more of a wave of managed change in the global energy portfolio versus an event ensuring energy access and security whilst progressing to net zero. Achieving the net zero goal requires global coordination and access to skills, technology, and global financing. For that reason, it is likely to be a ride that involves a variety of energy solutions to drive to net zero, drawing on renewables, nuclear, advanced biofuels, as well as the critical role of gas in the energy transition, whether from current supplies of natural gas, LNG and LPG, or into a future shaped by their low carbon alternatives in the form of hydrogen, ammonia, and green LPG. Epitomizing the phrase, "Be the change you want to see in the world," India, under the visionary leadership of the Honorable Prime Minister, Shri Narendra Modi ji, has been making immense strides in ensuring the energy security for its citizens, which is stable, sustainable, and affordable. Excellency, whilst welcoming you to this session and looking forward to your deliberations, I can share with you that the Honorable Prime Minister not only is committed to the green transition, but many of the work that we are doing here, it is very clear, has a replicability and scaling for not only the countries in the global south, but for anyone else anywhere in the world.